Good morning on the West Coast. Good afternoon elsewhere. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. And bonds are soaring today. So that's not good for the stock market. So let's get to our share. We'll share the S&P 500 map, which is normally we call this a heat map. I call this almost a freeze out map today. As most things are red. There's a little corner in healthcare that's doing okay, but almost everything else is down. So there we have that. Once again, I'm going to share, once I find it here. Our annuity sample. If you don't like these times where the bear market never ends kind of feeling, well, maybe you should invest in an annuity because you have no risk of principal. I mean, your value doesn't go down, it only goes up, and they outpace index investing by about 5%. They do this by giving you a bonus of 20 to 40% and continual gains, and then average gains of 6 to 9%. So there we have it. Get something similar to this and index universal life insurance, the savings portion of it. Your principal never goes down. And even if the stock market goes down, you still get a credit interest to your account. So there you have it. And let's go to the news. Some of the reasons that the bonds are ripping to the upside is that there's fears that we may not get a recession, but with the economy hot, that the Federal Reserve is going to continue raising interest rates higher and higher. So this is why the yields are going up. In the world news, Swiss National Bank ended its run of 5 consecutive interest rate increases since it began lifting rates out of negative territory in June 2022. U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy will try to restart his stalled Republican spending agenda on Thursday with a procedural vote on fiscal 2024 defense appropriation bill that Republicans have already twice failed to advance. On to company news. Let's get on with sharing the screen. As you can see, this is a huge gap up on bond yields. They hit about 4.5%, highest that they've been. We had a high of 4.33. I guess we could look back at the 2008 financial crisis. And they're not quite where they were in 2007, but they're definitely higher than they were in 2008. And we know what happened then. So let's get back to our company news. KB Home. Q3 EPS $1.80, tops estimate of $1.43. While revenues fall negative 14% year over year to 1.59 billion, but above estimates of 1.48 billion. And normally maybe this would have moved up, but the bond yields jumping are going to put pressures on KB Home and all the other home builders. Detroit's big three automakers, the United Auto Workers remained far apart in labor negotiations less than 48 hours before union's deadline to make significant progress or escalate a strike with new work stoppages. And if that happens, it's going to take a lot of money out of our economy, but also I believe it's going to be a boost to Tesla. As we can see, Tesla is selling off, but it's holding pretty strong right out on holding on its 50-day moving average. And I guess we could take a look at Lucid. Lucid isn't doing as well, keeps going down. I remember when it was around 23. Kind of had a topping action over here and has been going down ever since. Look at Rivian. Rivian is working on a cup formation, or it could be a cup with I guess it's a cup with a handle as it pulls back here a little bit. So keep an eye on Rivian as well. Toyota Motors ripped to the upside and now is pulled back pretty strong. But that is pretty amazing move. But let's get back to our company news. JD Sports Fashion. This is an international stock. I guess it's not going to come up, but it rises on after reported higher 1H revenue and said it is on track to hit full year profit targets, lifting other UK retailers. Next PLC, see if that comes up, rose after reporting higher sales and profit in the 6 months to July. We can look at CART, which we were looking for their chart the other day, and had a huge run up, came public 18 and then went all the way up here to 42 and has been selling off ever since. IPO base, which we discussed before, is generally 16 to 25 days in length. So we could continue checking back and see how it performs. Carvana, Moody upgrades Carvana CFR to CAA3, senior unsecured notes. I guess I did not type that in correctly. And it got a big boost today. It was working on a cup with a handle formation, and it just kind of has died with a number of other stocks here. Energy, industrials, and materials. FedEx, quarter one adjusted EPS 455 versus 373. With the market being down a lot today, that's an amazing move. 32% earnings increase, huge volume of professional managers buying the stock, huge gap up. We'll just see if it can continue with our current market conditions and our seasonality in the stock market, which is the season is very poor, especially September and early October. And Enovix said it is buying the Korean battery manufacturer Root Jade for 16.5 million in cash, 6.2 million of its shares. The Korean company would also allow it to add an established lithium-ion battery business with factories in Korea. Got a little bit of a bounce and then sold off here. Greenbrier Companies, GBX, said it has won orders for 15,300 new rail cars, valued at $1.9 billion. They got a big jump here, and volume was kind of weak, though. This is positive with today's market action. Mosaic and Nutrien shares fell late Wednesday as RBC Capital noted that U.S. ITC ordered by court to reconsider phosphate duties. The firm said it views the court ruling as potentially negative for domestic phosphate producers, especially Mosaic, as it brings uncertainty to the future of U.S. pricing relative to global benchmarks. And let's take a look at what Nutrien did. They actually went up slightly yesterday and now are selling off today. Had a nice blue volume bar here. Gulfport Energy expanded common stock repurchase authorization by 63% to 650 million. And that has initially rose, but then sold off again. Maxion Solar Technologies and Complete Solaria, CSLR, signed a definitive agreement for purchase of sales channel assets and shingled solar panel IP by Maxion. And it did nothing for Maxion shares as they are in a big downturn, and did nothing for Complete Solaria. Both are look in a complete sell-off here. In financials, Raymond James Financials, August 2023 private client group assets under management increased 12% over August 2022, initially sold off and is now bouncing back. Truist Financial upgraded to outperform from market perform at KBW with a price target of $36. Right now it has declined to $28.29. On to technology, media, and telecom, Broadcom. Shares fall after the information reported that Google, GOOGL, executives have discussed dropping Broadcom as a supplier of artificial intelligence chips as early as 2027. Got a big gap down here and huge volume. Take a look at Google. Google is gapping down as well. This may have more to do with bond yields. So onto Marvell Technology, bid higher after the information article link above, also noted Google has been working to replace Broadcom with Marvell. Well, they went up and then they sold off. They're on the bottom right now. So it's always risky to buy on rumor. So Para and Warner Brothers Discovery shares looked higher before the open after CNBC reported last night that writers and producers are near an agreement to end the Writers Guild of America strike and meeting to face-to-face on Wednesday. So it was up slightly. Looks like it was up earlier and then sold off, possibly seeing what bonds have done. Same thing in Warner. It was up in the morning and then it sold off. CrowdStrike, which I really like. We'll just have to see if it's able to hold up here. I did sell it earlier today. CrowdStrike raised its target for subscription gross margins by 400 basis points and for operating margins by 900 basis points and free cash flow margin of 34 to 38% of revenue. So it was up earlier and then sold off on heavy volume. ARM Holdings shares trading lower, down 3%. Yeah, they got a big boost here, and much like Instacart, have sold off heavily. The volume is lower on this sell-off, but that hasn't had the share prices yet. And finally, Toshiba shareholders approve $13.5 billion deal to take the company private. Toshiba in March agreed to take over a proposal made by consortium led by Tokyo-based private equity firm Japan Industrial Partners. And that's it for our news today. Let's first take a look at the software. I took a look at some of the software. They're gapping down. These were some of the leaders. IGV looks very similar to those three stocks in the group. It was holding up pretty well, but it is moving down quickly as they have a high PE multiple that people, when bond yields increase, will sell off these stocks because of the high amount of, I guess, loans that they have out there. And let's see, I guess we can go over to HubSpot and take a look at, they're actually making money. See ServiceNow, they're losing money. They're actually making money, but down 11%. So it's more of the high multiples in these stocks. People aren't willing to pay that when bond yields are a guarantee and they move to the safety of bonds. Let's go to our oil pricing. Oil was up earlier in the day and then it sold off, backed off here to its 10-day moving average. Look at energy ETF selling off much stronger than oil itself as it falls through its 20-day moving average. Volume is kind of muted, so maybe it's just going to do a pullback to the 50-day. This is one of the leaders. Weatherford International had gone up to 97 and is now pulling back. Biotech gap down. It's trying to gain his footing here. Similar action on the other biotech. Look at technology gapping down. Not quite as ugly as the software gap down, but still it's moving down. Semiconductors gapping down as well, going below 143.35. Building materials gapping down on this. This is really an ugly day today. Metals and mining gapping down as well, trying to recover some of it here. And finally, our home builders ETF gapping down as well. So right now, everything looks pretty ugly. What probably is going up is the volatility index, or VIX. Huge move up. AJ Monty, my favorite technician, kind of predicted this. This was coming. So it looks like we have a double bottom here, and has now gone past the double bottom. We'll just see how much more the VIX will go up. And it's inverse related to the S&P 500, which is gapped down today. So we had a breakout for a rally over here. You can just take a look at it right here. And when Investors Business Daily says whenever it goes below the low of the breakout, I guess that would be right about here. Pretty close. I'm not sure if the S&P has gone below the low, but it's pretty close. A pretty ugly day anyway. QQQ, the NASDAQ. Broke out over here. I guess this would be the low. It undercuts the low of the breakout. Then it's pretty much that this rally is done for the time being. And it's a good possibility it could go further down. And a lot of people were thinking this is going to fail, and some have suggested it is going to undercut the 2020 lows. Take a look where those are. That would be quite a precipitous fall, going from 359 over here to 164. We'll have to keep watching. IWM, which has really looked ugly, continues the ugliness over here. So it's definitely undercut the low of the breakout, which was over here. I could just draw a straight line. It's definitely sold off there. And the index that was doing the best was Dow Jones. Is trying to hang in there. The low of the breakout, I believe, would be right about here. So all the indexes, it looks like, have undercut. Let's go back to the S&P 500. So the breakout is right here. And that would be the low. And it undercut the low yesterday. And it was on heavy volume. It wasn't the increased amount of volume saying that a distribution day, but still it was pretty ugly. And today is not over yet, and it is even uglier still. So what is actually going up today? We looked at a couple of things in the news that were going up on volume. See if my handy chart will come up. So it looks like there's only 3 companies other than the ones that we already looked at. Wow, look at Splunk. Now that's a move. 21% on this terrible day that we had. Volume up 1,385%. Largest volume since the base. I'll try to get some more information on that. HQY. Got health equity, number of days of buying over here. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 days. 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 13, 9 out of 13 days up 2.47%. And finally, GRN up about 1%. Some pretty good volume. Huron Consulting provides health, education, legal, financial, corporate consulting. And on the downturn, TKO is taking a technical knockout, it looks like. Down 17% on massive volume. Media entertainment company and production marketing of TV programming. EDR down over 8%. Huge volume over here. Operates sports properties through live events, experiences. Cloud computing, along another software company. This is not a company, it's actually exchange traded fund tracking the price of the emerging cloud network. We looked at Broadcom and the ONIOC in the natural gas market, down 1.44%. Some pretty huge volume bars here, 3 out of the last 4 days. Bright House Financial, permanent term and life insurance, huge gap down here on pretty good volume. So we got 2 out of the last 4 days in selling. We're all down. And it fell below most of this channel here in the consolidation. Stericycle down 1.38%, still kind of in a consolidation pattern, so could be continued to be watched. And that's our winners and losers. And this is another reason to be in an annuity. You miss all these type of events. Take a look at some of our leaders. Meta, still hanging around the 300. It did pull back a little bit, but this is pretty strong. Not financial managers aren't letting it go down too much. Let's compare that to Apple. Apple is definitely a lot weaker, wide and loose, very sloppy formation. This, you need to have something to tighten up before actually want to buy something. This means that there's not a lot of buyers. The stock has to fall to attract more buyers, prop it up. Go look at Amazon. Huge gap down today. Yeah, Amazon has a pretty high multiple. Let me see if we can get the PE. Yeah, the PE is 107 when most of the S&P 500 is around, I believe, 26 to 32. Look at Google gapping down as well to its 50-day moving average. And Microsoft, Mr. Softy, is fell down quite a bit, but it is got a lot of buying, pushing it back up to the upper part of its range. And Nvidia continues to fall, so it hit a high of 502.66, heading down near 400. We'll see if we get any buyers around 400. Let's see, I think that's pretty much where it is. Yeah, we got a big gap down in the QQQ. Couldn't hold the 50-day. It came up above the 50-day, could not hold it, and fell down. This is a kind of very bearish sign that the market could continue to go down. So that's all the news and education we got. This is a very foreboding type of atmosphere until the bond yields pull back, inflation is under control, and that the certain parts of the economy are not overheated. And the Fed continued to raise rates. The whole market is at risk, and it could go down for some time. So that's our report for today. Thanks for joining Mornings with Michael. Just like these companies go out there in troubled times, keep working on new inventions. You guys keep going out there, working on your goals and keeping after your activities. One day you're going to surprise yourself and be the superstar you always wanted to be. If you have any questions about your financial goals, feel free to reach out to us. This is, again, Mornings with Michael. Have a great day.